Residents of Maiduguri in Borno State woke up to massive flooding affecting at least 6 communities, with houses affected, cars, hospitals and schools submerged. Thousands of residents are fleeing to safety as authorities confirmed that the flood was as a result of the collapse of Alau Dam. TVC News senior reporter Jesse Tafida monitored the situation and now reports.
An early morning flood caught residents of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, unawares. The flood waters brought most parts of the metropolis on its knees. Residential areas, shops, hospitals, markets, schools and bridges were submerged. Many residents tried to save what they could as the water level increases. Others flee to relatively safer areas as fast as they could. The state government has since commenced evacuation of victims of the flood disasters as they are being provided temporary shelters. Though the government is yet to issue an official statement on number of casualties, it advises residents to ensure their safety. The floods as a result of Alau Dam collapse has washed most parts of the state, a situation residents say occurred sometime in 1994. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
And President Bola Tinubu has expressed deep concern about the flooding in parts of Maiduguri. He condoled with the government and people of the state, especially families that have lost their means of livelihood due to the disaster triggered by the collapse of the Alau Dam. The president has called for the immediate evacuation of people from affected areas, and relevant authorities assess the damage caused by the flood. The president assured Governor Babagana Zulum that the federal government is ready to collaborate to address the immediate humanitarian needs of the affected people. He also ordered the National Emergency Management Agency to assist the flood victims. Vice President Kashim Shettima was in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to sympathize with the government and people of the state over the flood that rendered thousands of residents homeless. He assured the people of quick government intervention to bring relief to victims. TVC News senior reporter Jesse Tafida reports again.
Vice President Kashim Shettima arrives to Maiduguri alongside some members of the National Assembly and other top government officials. They are here to sympathize with people of the state over the flood that caused devastation in most parts of the metropolis. The entourage headed straight to the Bakassi camp where the displaced persons are sheltered. Senator Kashim Shettima sympathizes with the victims and assured of the federal government's quick response to address the situation. The vice president took time to go around the metropolis to see for himself the devastation. He also visited the Shehu of Borno's palace, where he had to walk through the flood waters to find his way. The vice president assured of speedy intervention from the federal government through the National Emergency Management Agency, Northeast Development Commission and the Refugee Council.
Honestly, Your Eminence, the tragedy that we have seen is well beyond the capacity of the Borno State government alone to shoulder. We rest assured that inshallah, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is determined to support His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum MNI, organizations and private sector, all to the custody of the Borno State government.
Thank you very much for assuring us that you have already, the President has already approved the release of such allocation to Borno State to assist in this direction. Yet, I will appeal that a very high power committee be constituted to study the localities.
At the moment, The flood waters are gradually receding. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
We're working to establish connection with officials there to give us update on the situation. When that connection is established, we'll get updates from Borno State. But let's get more reactions to the situation there. The Nigeria Governors Forum has sympathized with the government and people of Borno and Yobe states as flooding ravages parts of Maiduguri city and Jere in Borno State, as well as some local government areas of Yobe. The NGF, in a statement by its chairman, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, says it stands with the governments and residents of affected areas. The Nigeria Governors Forum commended swift efforts of the federal government and the states to bring immediate succor to the victims. Similarly, the Governors Forum sends its condolences to the government and people of Niger State on the death of 48 people and several livestock in a petrol tanker explosion along Bida-Agai-Lapai Highway in the state. The forum says the incident again underscores the need for all road users to prioritize safety at all times. Staying with security, we're turning to security now. The Nigerian Army has confirmed, all right, not that story. Let's turn attention, we'll turn attention to security now. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa says operations are being scaled up to tackle insecurity in the country. General Christopher Musa also pointed out that a lot more needs to be done, but inclusive efforts would go a long way in curbing the challenges. Sifon Essien reports.
There have been significant security incidents in the country in the past months. Attacks in Borno and Yobe states have resulted in dozens of deaths. Banditry in the northwest assumed a worrisome dimension, prompting the military to scale up operations.
We are also aware that there are intelligence reports on possible movement of terrorists and bandits towards Kanji National Park. That is being addressed. The Air Force is on top of it. There's increased ISRs, and troops are also being deployed to ensure that nobody gains foothold in the Kanji National Park. I can assure you that we are on top of this situation. Now to the northwest, which is where we are having key challenges. We clearly agree with the challenges in the northwest, and they need to address it. And to address it, the CDS have directed a holistic review of the entire operation in the northwest.
The Chief of Defense Staff acknowledges a lot more needs to be done to address the security issues.
Ideally, we have overviewed the entire operation and realized that we need to harmonize our operations together. As you notice, we have Operation Hadarin Daji and Operation White Stroke, both within the northwest region. We have seen the need for us to harmonize those operations into one operation like we did in the northeast, where we have Operation Hard and Clay. The same thing is being done now for the northwest operation. We have one unified operation. It's going to be called Operation Fansan Yama.
He calls for inclusive efforts, noting that steps are being taken to strengthen community resilience in areas worst affected by insecurity.
We are all aware that we have security challenges almost all over the country, but we saw the need to continue to deliberate, to collaborate, to cooperate together in order to address these challenges.
While the military is at it, Nigerians are anxious for immediate results. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.